It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
What's going on, everyone? So we're back at the regular time, 11 o'clock, but it's still not Monday. It's Tuesday. We're all over the place with our schedules, man. But we're here. Yeah. We're bringing the news to you, and so it's all good. E, how's everything been, man?
Man, everything's good. No, it's crazy. Right before we started, I looked at my phone, and I know everybody saw the Kyrie Irving injury last night, but they just announced that he tore his ACL, and I was like, oh man, yeah, He was having such an incredible, year, and everything that he's battled back from, and the way that he's been playing, and it was such a dramatic scene. If people didn't see, because it was really Kobe-ish, you know what I mean, like Kobe-like, where he went to the free throw line and knocked down his 2 free throws and had a tear in his eye, and he's like, "Thank you, God," before he shot. It was really dramatic, and I was hoping that it wasn't as bad as a torn ACL, but if you look at the replay, and I hate looking at those kind of replays, it looked really bad. But much respect to Kyrie. It's sorry to hear that he tore his ACL and is out for the season. That's a tough way to go out.
Yeah. I mean, you never want to see that, especially one of the best basketball players. In my mind, he's one of the most skilled basketball players of all time. It's like art on the court watching him, just how he could start and stop and maneuver and, finishing at the rim, shot making ability. He's one of my favorite players to watch. But it was definitely Kobe-esque, as when Kobe, I think it was when he tore his Achilles, he went back on and shot those free throws. So it makes sense, though, because Kyrie, that was one of his mentors, Kobe. He credits the left-handed floater and all his left-handed shots to working with Kobe and just talking with Kobe. So it makes sense that, he did that going back to the free throw line. But, yes, you want to send our prayers and all our healing energy to Kyrie, and hopefully he gets back. The good thing is ACL is like back in the day, it was like a whole thing, right? And I tore my ACL, but now with the technology and everything going on, especially with the NBA trainers and staff, hopefully he gets back sooner than later and gets back on the court healthy. So shout out to Kyrie, man. We don't want to start the show off on a I guess a
that wasn't
bad
plan, Yeah, that wasn't the plan. I just thought before we went on. Yeah,
we had to make sure we shout out one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But let's get to Cuse real quick. They had a tough one against Virginia Tech, and then they got one tonight in Dallas against it'll be another tough one in SM.
Let me go back to Virginia Tech really quickly. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it because that was a while ago. It was all the way back Saturday. But help me out with this, E. We went away from what was working, and what was working was going inside. And I know I have big man bias, and I've said that before. And anybody that's heard me, talk knows I have big man bias. But it was working. You know what I mean? Between Lampkin and you know what I'm saying, Jair, they had 37 points between the two of them. It was working.
21 and 16, yeah.
Yeah, so we were up there 14, 13. What were we up? 13 points, right? And they went on
with 8 minutes left, yeah.
Yeah, and they went on a 14-1 run. In that 14-1 run, we couldn't do anything right offensively. And we went away from what was working. And what was working was going inside. And that, now, yes, Jaquan Carlos had the heroics at the end of regulation, for us to even, but it shouldn't even have gotten to that. That shouldn't have even been needed. We were up. We had command of the game. And then, of course, we kind of fell apart in the overtime. But when something's working, you got to keep going to it. You know what I mean? You just got to milk it, and we've had different stretches where our offense was a little stagnant, where things weren't going right, where, outside shooting was, whatever wasn't working. But whatever it is, when we're having a tough offensive stretch, go back to what was working. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I mean, 100%. Jair had his one of a career night, 21 points. He was 8 for 11, so he was efficient. And then so was Eddie. 7 for 13, another double. I think these last 2 games, if he gets a double, that would be the program record for most doubles in a season. So despite the tough year that the team's having, I mean, Eddie's having a career year in his senior year. So you got to shout out the big fella, 44, Eddie Lampkin. He's done as much as he can, but I agree. I mean, they were dominating in the paint. They were getting to the free throw line. Probably the most they got to the free throw line in a long time. They almost got 23 of 29, and they shot a good percentage. They 18 assists. Obviously, turnovers have to be able to take care of the ball. But if you're up 13 in the second half with 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left, you have to be able to secure that. And to your point, you want to go with what's been working, right? You don't want to fast the pace of the game up. You want to be able to take care of the ball, execute offensively, get it to your big fellas, keep pounding down low, and get to the free throw line if they're not making them. But despite all that, it always goes back to defense. You know what I mean? And this is what Syracuse has been struggling with all year. They had a pretty good offensive, as a team, a good offensive night, almost 55% shooting. But I'm looking at Virginia Tech, and they shot 61% from the field, 42% from 3. Right, it's just, and they got 101 points. Even 101 points in overtime, you're not stopping anyone, right? I mean, you're giving up almost 50 points in the second half. You got to find out a way to stop guys and get stops at crucial times. It's almost like guys are just getting by us and doing whatever they want. Now when the defense collapses, now they're making decisions. So, I mean, despite the offensive effort, defensively, it's just been the same thing, man. You can't get any stops. There's no rim protection. Teams are running up and down on us. And look, if you can't get any stops, I don't care how much you score the ball. You're not going to be able to outscore teams. And this has just been the case for Syracuse all year.
But the thing is, we were outscoring them. We were up 13. We were pounding it inside. We were doing what we were supposed to be doing. We was dominating in the paint. And they were like very high percentage shots. Like guys were like, you know what I mean? Jair has that thing where he catches at the free throw line or he catches at the 3-point line, he rips through, he does a spin move, and all that was working. So we were scoring, you know what I mean? And we were outscoring them. And then we just went away from it. So that was a tough game to watch. I'm not gonna lie. That was tough because it was one that we could have won. Now where everything stands now, we've secured the ACC tournament. That's what we're playing for, and so we're. I'm saying, what do I want to say?
No, you're right. That's a positive. That's a positive. We're gonna spin that positive.
So no matter what happens now, we're still secure for the ACC tournament. I mean, NC State has to do something miraculously, and they've been really struggling. So is Boston College. So I think we're secure, right? But going into tonight against SMU looks pretty impressive. Not gonna lie, I'm still wrapping my mind around them being in the ACC because I forgot they came over with that Stanford and Cal, just last summer, right? So this is their first year. Because I don't remember when I saw SMU I was like, wait, SMU, are we playing them right now? But I forgot that they brought them over. But this is going to be a tough match tonight. Not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, SMU, they really had a pretty good year. I mean, a 20-win season. I think the past 3-4 games they've been out with their best player's been out, Boopie Miller. So they're a totally different team now without him. I mean, that's the quarterback of the team. He gets guys in position. He can score the ball. He can defend at the point of the attack. And they still got good guards. Edwards, Quendo. They got Chuck Harris, and then they got some, Matt Cross, and then they got the big down there, big freshman from Turkey who's been playing well. Look, regardless of their best player being out, it's going to be a tough one for Syracuse. I mean, SMU's averaging almost 81 points a game. Again, it goes back to defensively. Can we get stopped? So we know you're capable of scoring the ball, Syracuse. And to your point again, about the big fellas, that's where I think we should always start. I think teams, in the beginning of the game, you have the advantage. You got Jair Davis, who's big, physical. He's pretty mobile. And then you got Eddie Lampkin, who it's like a point center. You know, you could get it to him on the elbow. You could get it to him down low, and he's able to create with his passing ability and not just with his scoring. But you got to try to make the defense come in a little bit, right? And know that, you know, the inside presence is working now. Like your guards, JJ and Chris Bell and Carlos, they're playing off a long closeout. So it gives them a little bit of easier to get in and drive and make decisions, just having a little bit more space on that floor. So you got to defend, you got to rebound, you got to take care of the basketball. Right. I mean, second half, and to your point, we weren't getting executed and going back to our basics, but they weren't taking care of the ball like they're supposed to as well. And when they don't take care of the ball, usually teams are just going out in transition and getting easy buckets, not even having to play against a half-court defense. But you got to be able to get some stops, man. That's where it starts at. And our spot is locked in, E, for the ACC tournament. Like you said, it doesn't really matter what happens. But I think we were talking earlier on the phone, you got to build some type of momentum going into the tournament. You got to feel good about yourself. Like even if you're losing, like, and it's hard to say this, even if you're losing, but feel good about losing. Like at least you're playing well a little bit, right? And I know it's kind of weird to say, but you just want to have some momentum going into the ACC tournament. Like, hey, we're playing well, defense is clicking, we're communicating offensively, we're executing. And again, I guess that's just a different perspective to have. Yes, we want to win the game. We want to win the game, though.
Yes. You know, it's interesting. I keep, I'm listening to what the fans are saying, and everybody's really worried about next year. And I know that, everybody's always going to go back to, okay, do we need to make a coaching change? Do we need, what personnel are we going to bring? What's the most important positions that we need to fill? What are the things that need to happen in this offseason, portal wise? Who do we need to retain? All these are questions that are going to be asked, throughout the entire, off season. But I want you to touch on this bit that just happened at Maryland, because I know a lot of the conversation is, NIL, and, a lot of fans are kind of pushing back on, making donations and, that they shouldn't have to do it. But, I've seen a lot of fans say, okay, well, $5 million is enough. We should be just fine. Break down what other people are doing and what we're up against, so people could really understand why we need more. That's basically what I'm saying. Break it down real quick.
Yeah, so I actually on Twitter, a guy, he commented on our last show, or when we were talking about the NIL, it might have been 2 weeks ago, but he was saying, yeah, $5 million's enough. We don't need that much money. $5 million's enough if you want to be in the middle of the pack in a mediocre ACC. That might be enough then. But if you look at what Maryland just got, a one-time donation of $10 million. That's just one donation. That's not a whole collective. That's one donation of $10 million. And that was the second donation Maryland got of $10 million. They got an $18 million donation from one of their former alum, and $10 million of that went to basketball. So if my math is correct, that's $20 million right off top for Maryland basketball without any type of collective. That's $20 million. So that's what we're competing with. And my whole thing was, how do you want to compete if you're Syracuse? Do you want to just be middle of the pack? Do you want to be competing to get in the ACC tourney? Or do you want to get back to a national stage, like where you're competing for national championships, you're competing for Final Fours, you're like every single year was like, yeah, okay, what seed are we going to get in the NCAA tournament? It's not, are we going to get to the conference tournament? You know what I mean? That's, even though everybody was always going to get in regardless, but if you're really trying to compete like on the national stage, $5 million is not it, man. I'm telling you, like I don't know if these fans really understand what these other schools are bringing it. There is no budget. We're talking about budget. What's our budget at Syracuse? These other schools don't have a budget. I mean, Magic Johnson earlier in the year to Michigan State was like, hey, whatever you guys need, unlimited. Like there is no budget. Like whatever this guy wants to get paid, we have that. Maryland, we were just talking about, they got $20 million. Kentucky, we talked about their starting five was $6 million or $5.5 million, whatever it is. So if you want to be mediocre and be at the middle of the pack in the ACC, $5 million, okay, that's cool. That'll do it. You'll be mediocre in the ACC. If you want to compete for national championships, Final Fours, Elite Eights, things like that, always, being in the NCAA tournament, you got to get 10 million or more. And again, we said 8 to 10 million. That might be the low end. Talking about these other teams, what they're bringing in. So I mean, I understand what your fans are saying. We're not saying yes, $5, $10, whatever from your average fan. Yes, if you get a lot of people to do that, sure, it could accumulate into some more. But we're talking about people coming in, alumni who are big time donors. That's what these other programs have. You know, and I know Syracuse administration, they have people that's their job to go out and get these donors. And I know Syracuse alumni has those type of donors. I mean, Syracuse fan base is all over the country. You know, everywhere I go, I see there's Syracuse Orange fans. So you can't tell me that this isn't possible. It's about going to find them, and whatever you're telling them is, you know, obviously right now it's not working because they're not on board, but you got to figure out a way to get these people to come in and compete, because right now the money that we have is not enough.
That's what it is. Look, I know we got to go to a break. I want to come back. I want to ask you about, you know, Juju Watkins. I've been watching her play, and she's absolutely amazing. But let's take a break. And we'll be right back with more on QSports.com.
Syracuse basketball head coach Adrian Autry joins Orange Nation every Thursday at 1.
Yeah, no, that was a touchy topic. I was watching one thing, and all these fans were like, "Oh, you know," it was a segment with Paulie, and they were saying how Paulie was trying to get them to understand, because one fan was saying that they wanted special recognition. Did you see that segment? I'm trying to see what was happening, but it was saying, well, we want special recognition if we're playing, and Paulie kind of went off. This is one of his going off segments.
Hold on, say that again. No, they wanted. Who wanted that? The people who donated?
Oh, Paulie, you there?
Yeah, a guy said that they need if I give like $5, I need to be put on a Hall of Fame wall or something.
What?
So I was just like, yeah.
Well, that's the problem.
You want recognition at the game or something like that, or we tell something special for fans to make them feel a part of it. And Paulie was like, "Yeah, I don't understand what we're up against right now." He was trying to explain it to the guy, but he wasn't listening. He wasn't hearing him.
If you donate $10 million, I'm sure they will recognize you. You'll get recognized. Your name on the building.
They'll erase Jim Boeheim's name off the court and put yours there.
100%. And I bet you if less than 10 million, they'll give you some recognition. You get 5 million or a million, they'll probably give you some recognition. But $5, man, chalk that up, champ. That's it. Yeah, chalk that one up. But 10 million, I'm sure they'll do some stuff for you. But come on, man. Like, these other schools are 5 million.
That's what they do.
5 million is not enough, man. That's
hold on. I got like 30 seconds, right? Go downstairs.
Where you at, Eric?
South Bend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Me too. It's raining crazy here. I should.
Are you going to be down at the tournament?
No, I don't think so. No, these are my last 2 games. I got Wednesday and Saturday's SMU at Florida State, which is pretty cool because it's Leonard Hamilton's last game, so that'd be cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh.
There's going to be a bunch of people.
I saw them against Duke. Oof, that was brutal.
Duke's good, man.
That was brutal. I was like, good Lord.
Who did Duke beat last night? Was it Wake Forest?
I don't know. I didn't see
that. Wake Forest last night.
Well, Florida State, they beat them by like 40.
Illinois at the Garden? Holy smokes.
Say it again, Paulie.
What they did to Illinois at the Garden was...
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's all upset Syracuse got blown out by them. They blow everybody out.
Yeah, they're going to compete. They're going to compete for a national champion. It's be an SEC team in them somewhere.
Got one more minute?
One more minute.
Yeah, let me look Juju Watkins real quick.
Man, she looks so impressive.
Yeah, she moved different. You know what I'm saying? Like she not regular.
at all.
You could just tell how she moved. You know what I mean? Like, what conference is it? It's a whole different Pac-12. Oh yeah. Dang, they're killing too. 17-1 in conference.
Man, they killing.
Yeah, you can't. It's not like, Eddie killing. You can't really say much because they losing. You know what I mean? So it's like, but if they was winning and he getting those double doubles, now you talking different. But they are dominating.
I didn't know that Eddie was approaching the double record for single season.
Yeah, I think he needs like 2 more to break it with these last 2 games.
Wow.
Yeah, they just beat UCLA twice, which is they were number 1 when they beat him, then they just beat him again, number 2. Her numbers are just ridiculous.
That's right.
Man. Yeah, she could really play, man. She's only a sophomore?
Yeah. Now, what is the rule with them? Can they can't go straight to the league until they're what? Junior year? What's the rule with them?
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on CuseSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
Welcome back, everyone. So, let's get into talking about Juju Watkins. I mean, she is incredible. Man. We're just talking off air.
Man, she looks incredible to me. Like what the things that she's doing on the court, you know what I mean? The way that she is dominating, scoring different ways, filling up the stat sheet, just beat UCLA, back to back. But it is interesting because she's getting a lot of press, but she doesn't get the press I feel that she deserves. And what's your thoughts about that? Why do you think she's not getting the level of accolades, the level of attention, of a Caitlin Clark or somebody else?
Yeah, I think, and we were talking about this too, E. I think with Caitlin Clark, I think just like in basketball in general, like men or women, that when you have like a really good white basketball player, it's going to get more praise and you're going to get more recognition just because it's not many really, really good white basketball players. I mean, just to be honest. So, and I think, the media is more so white, right? So they're going to give her praise a little bit more. And look, I'm not saying Juju Watkins isn't getting recognition, but she is. I saw her on a State Farm commercial. She has a bunch of NIL deals. Like she's taking advantage of the NIL. But for me, how she moves and so when I'm looking at basketball players, and especially like early on, I'm like looking at their movements, like how they move. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it fluid? Like, is it just like they're like when we talk about Kyrie, his movement with his body, how he can control his movement and how he maneuvers and like shifts. And like, that's how you could really tell like somebody's like going to be really, really good. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just about like putting all that together and then obviously decision making. Juju Watkins got all that, like how she's in sync with her body and the ball and how she moves with it and like how she can get to her spots and like change direction, change speed. I haven't seen a women's basketball player be able to do that. Like Caitlin Clark was unbelievable shooting the ball from everywhere on the court, and yes, she could handle it, and yes, she's one of the best basketball players in the WNBA. If top 5, whatever it is, right? But this girl, Juju Watkins, different. She different. Like just how she moved. And I don't want to say she like look, she'd be out there like you put her with some grown men and I don't want to catch any for saying this, but man, she putting in work on both. I don't care what it is. Man, like she's like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying she could do it at like in the NBA or anything like that, but man, look, you know what I mean. She's different. She's different.
She's the truth. No doubt about it. And just the way that, like you said, the way that she moves and what she is able to do on the court and what she's accomplishing now. But, looking at her freshman year and her sophomore year, and you mentioned it, it's hard not to notice that she's getting her accolades, she's getting praise, but she's not getting the praise and she's not talked about the way that Caitlin Clark was talked about. And those when you're playing at that kind of a level, those comparisons are, bound to happen. Like people say, well, why are you bringing up Caitlin Clark's name? Well, because, she was one of the top at that time at her craft, and the way that she was praised was on a whole different level. Juju is doing a lot. And, there is something to be able to examine the amount of praise that is happening. I think there is.
So is it like, and I got a question for you on this. Is it because like they almost see her, how she built and like how she moved? Is that almost like expected? So they're like, oh yeah, she's supposed to do that, rather than like Caitlin Clark, where they see her, she's not like, has a great build. Don't get me wrong, she looks good, but it's not Juju Watkins build. You know what I mean? And then when she comes on the scene like that, it's like surprising.
So I think you mentioned it a little bit, though, that sometimes you don't have a player that's dominating, that's a white player, in the league, so that brings a certain level of gravity. But it also, there's a different aspect that was added to this because, they created a nemesis, like a villain, and that villain was Angel Reese. So after she beat her, you know what I mean? Then she became the villain. So there was more of a dynamic, and people make the comparison of Magic and Larry Bird and kind of playing on the racial dynamic. And this is a racial time, there's no denying that. So there was a racial component to some of the praise, and some people were there for the wrong reasons. We'll say that as well. But I saw that it was asked, does Juju Watkins need a villain in order to drum up some of the? And I was like, I don't know. What is your thought on that? I don't know if she necessarily needs a villain. She's just great in what she is doing, what she's accomplishment setting alone. But I don't know.
And her team is 17-2 in conference, and I'm gonna show you what they're overall.
Yeah,
overall. They're a good team. It's not like she's doing this on a bad team. Like you said, they just beat UCLA back-to-back or a couple weeks in between. They're 17-1 and 26-2 overall. Like she's killing on a really good team. Yes. And I just think like she man, look, I'd want her on my team, E. Like if we play in pickup or like at TBT, I'm picking her up.
I agree.
I think she got game like that, and again, she's great for a woman, but she would be good for a guy too. I think you know what I'm saying. Like it's just like
I don't like to make that comparison because it's tough. I don't like to make that comparison because it's tough. It's tough to because it's two different things. It's like when Brittany Griner was saying, yeah, she would give Boogie Cousins the business, and it was like, you're tough, but it's two different things. I don't know. I don't like to make that comparison.
And she tripping. Brittany Griner, she tripping on that. Like that's a whole different position right there. You know what I'm saying? Like Juju, I think she could really mix some dudes up. But like even so, like in like women's basketball, like when you see greatest of all time, like Diana Taurasi, like greatest of all time, like she could move well, but she's not. Juju's moving totally different. Like these like. Breanna Stewart, like she's like some people say with her resume and what she did, like every single year, like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, Final Four MVP, the national championship. So like if you're looking at resumes, like she considered one of the greatest players of all time, and she will be. But when I watch Juju Watkins, and if you put her on Juju Watkins, listen, man, that ain't happening. Like she can't. They can't stay in front. This girl is totally different, man. She one of the best women's basketball players I ever seen. Period. Like,
so I remember back in the day watching Shamika Holtzclaw, right? She was the truth like that. She was just dominating in all different areas, and she used to talk about playing pickup ball with the boys. Pickup ball with like Lamar Odom and them cats, around, and she loved playing pickup with them. And they call Shamika the female Jordan. You know what I mean? Like she was that was a little bit before your time. I don't know if you all the way remember, but she was like.
I remember Shamika with Tennessee. I remember all that. Tamika Catchings, they played together. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
she was
that.
the truth.
I'm a basketball head.
All right, I got you. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's definitely fun to see. So, and I'm glad to see that women's sports, especially women's college basketball, is really as exciting and growing as it is. No, it's been exciting for a while, so has the WNBA, but I'm glad to see that more people are taking notice now. More people are paying attention. More people they're getting their flowers. They're getting their praise, but like going back to Juju, it's I even saw, I think it was Stephen A. Smith that was making the comparison of why she doesn't get as many. And Stephen A. Smith, I disagree with her quite often. On this one, I was like, okay, that's a good point. You know what I mean? Like, because she's really dominating on a whole different level. But it seems like there should be a little bit more praise, a little bit more, you know what I mean? Everything else that is going on around her. I do think that.
Yeah, I agree. I think just in women's basketball has come a long way, but like in general, they still have a long way to go as far as like paying the players and it, I mean, I don't really know how you get to that point though, because it has to be people investing in the WNBA, right? That's where the money's coming from. People investing like outside sources, right? That's how you would get the growth.
Also, their revenue split, and you saw last year with even as much growth that they did have, as far as viewership and everything like that, they still were kind of operating at a deficit, you know, from what I was seeing. So, you know, the business side of it, it is going to take a lot for them because it's not just simply, you know, they should be paid better. They should. The WNBA players should be paid better. I will say that forever. You know, they shouldn't have to get, you know, second jobs and playing in the off season to be able to, you know, make ends meet until their season starts again. They shouldn't have to be doing that. I agree. But what it takes for that to happen, you know, first of all, they have to get more on the BRI, which is basketball related income. There has to be a better split. So that's something that their union is going to have to deal with. And fans got to come out and support. So fans supported a lot last year.
That's the hard part right there.
I mean, you'll have some. So you have the bigger markets and the bigger draws where it'll be a great crowd and everything like that. There's still some of them games and some of them places we're like, okay, we need to move to a smaller gym. Like this is we should even be in this big arena. You know what I mean? So they still have a ways to go, but the product is definitely there, and so that part isn't in question. But it's just all the support and everything else that has to just continue to increase.
You need to get a few more Juju Watkins, like a few more those type of players, just to bring that excitement. Because now, like you have young ladies, young women looking up to them, and it's like when they see that, they're like, all right, it can happen. I could be that, like depending on the work that I put in. And now the product becomes even better when you got 2, 3, 4 Juju Watkins, which it's easier said than done. That's going to be hard to do. It just enhances the product more. But and shout out to our guy MCW, who I think they're in talks in Boston. Him and Mark Wahlberg are bringing a WNBA team to Boston. I mean that's another way for I think another way is to getting NBA guys or former NBA guys on board, to really help grow the WNBA, and it's going to take a team effort, a collective effort overall, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and for those who didn't know who he was referring to, Michael Carter Williams. That's MCW, just in case y'all didn't know. Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, they better know. It's a Cuse
They should know, just in case they don't. Just in case. No, I know we got to take another break. I know we got to take another break. So let's take a break and come back. And I want to ask you about this LeBron issue and the criticism, and if he's getting criticized too much and all the different stuff. I think some of the criticism is warranted. Some of it's a little bit too much. Sometimes he could do no right. It's definitely a lot to talk about there. So let's take a break and we'll be back with more on QSportsTalk.com.
The Sports Show with Cody.
QSportsTalk.com. Yeah, look, tongue twister sometimes.
Yeah, Serena. Oh, yeah, Serena Williams is getting a new owner of Toronto Tempo. I saw that. Her and Larry Tannenbaum are in the ownership group.
Wow,
look at something. Somebody put Lunchbox League. Jeez, that's why they're at where they're at, right?
Lunchbox League, come on.
Oh man, I mean, you just got guys who don't want to. I mean, again, I don't watch a lot of women's basketball either, but I do follow. Like I like watching Juju Watkins. You know what I mean? Like she is an unbelievable player.
I agree.
My man, this dude, wow.
What is that? He's over there wilding out?
Well, he's talking about rebrand the WNBA as the blue collar league. These ladies are pouring concrete and landscaping in the off season. Oh my gosh. Dude. Super Cat. No, you guys on Tuesdays now. We just had our schedules were kind of different, so we're just Tuesday today. But next week will be next Monday. We'll be Monday. Yeah. Back to Monday.
That when I see it.
You're right. You know what? We apologize, or I apologize. It's mostly been me.
No, it's us. We. You had to take it all, Eric. It's we.
Yeah. If I could do it on the plane, Polly, I would, but I don't have the PJ. Well, I'm on Delta.
As long as you don't land on your ceiling, you'll be all right.
Dang. Don't say that.
Yes, we don't need any of that negative energy, please. All right. I got two more flights to go. All right. Damn. And I'm driving forever.
You can drive with me if you want.
I'm not driving to Florida State from Indiana. I know that. But yeah, Polly, you're driving. I know that. You haven't took a plane. When's the last time you flew, honestly?
National championship.
Right, 2003. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I had turned around and rented a car after the flight to the Final Four and drove back because that flight was horrible.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
Then I became friends with Gil.
Oh man, Gil. Is Gil? No, I don't know what's going on with Gil.
I don't know. I think, you know what he does now for a living? I heard he drives people's cars to Florida. So, like, if you're like, one of those people that goes from, like an older person that goes from the east to the Florida for the winter, he'll drive your car down.
Okay. So Gil was, and he might have been around when he always handed out gum.
Yeah, he was there when Etan was there, definitely.
So do you remember Gil, E?
Mm-mm.
He handed gum out every
he sat
time.
On the bench.
Oh, handed the gum out. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's all you had to say was gum. Yeah, I remember him.
I flew on the plane when Etan played, though. Like, we went to, that was my first year. Was your senior year, I think, Etan.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd had some now a lot of guys bust now on those trips, but yeah, I remember going back in some of those snowstorms. It was a little rough coming back. Not gonna lie.
Shout out my guy Super Cat. It's his birthday today. All right, Super Cat 6'10". Happy birthday, my guy. Enjoy it.
I had to sit next to Bill Selick the whole flight to Alaska.
Big Bill.
Wasn't a lot of room for me to move. Right.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
You're up.
What's going on, y'all? We back at it. So, E, let's get into this LeBron James hate, I guess you would say, because he always gets the hate. And look, E, before you start, I don't agree with everything LeBron does or how he goes about things. Like some things he says is just whatever, dude. Like I'm a Mike fan all the way. Let's just get that out there. I'm Mike. Like, who's the greatest of all time? It's Mike, and I know that's how you feel too, E. Like, Mike is, come on, he's the one and only for me. But LeBron doesn't have any blemishes on as far as, like, if you're talking about off the court issues or infidelities, whatever it is. Like a lot of these guys end up dealing with. Man, LeBron's clean. It's almost like people nitpick they're trying to find something like, man, we got to find something wrong with this guy. He's doing too well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and like you said, there's definitely room for criticism. So it's not that we can't criticize LeBron. And I'll say, I said it then, and I'll say it again. The way he handled that All-Star weekend was not the greatest. I mean, if you knew that you was not going to play, you should have just, given that to somebody else, and somebody else could have enjoyed, being, the All-Star. But to get there and then hours later, hours before, you're not going to play. And then, shortly afterwards with the first game after All-Star break, you're playing and dunking and scoring 30-something points or something like that. And everybody's like, come on now. So there's room to criticize. But sometimes it's like he can do no right. And I made a little bit of list of some of the stuff, we said we was going to talk about this. It's like if LeBron has a teammate that performs well, then it's all LeBron got carried. If none of LeBron's teammates perform well, it's LeBron's fault for not making the teammates better. You know what I mean? If LeBron's team loses, it's like this is why LeBron will never be as good as MJ. MJ will never lose to whoever it is, right? But then if LeBron's teams win, it's like, doesn't count. NBA is rigged. It's weak. It's watered down. You know what I mean? Even if they win the championship, they won in the bubble, and it was like, that doesn't count. Yeah, he won. I was like, he won. They won. They won the championship. If he misses a game winner, you know what I mean? Like at the end of the game, they're like, LeBron is a choker. Can't close. Not like, you know what I mean, MJ. But then if he makes the game winner, it's like, why was the game even close in the first place? MJ would have made it, you know what I mean? Like he literally cannot win. And I'm like, what is it? What is it? I wrote that a few more. It was like if he passes up a game winner to a teammate and a teammate misses the shot, then he's like, LeBron is afraid to take that shot. He's just not a killer like MJ, right? But then if he passes up the game winner and a teammate makes the shot, then still it's like LeBron got saved. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have won it if somebody didn't save him. And I'm like, look, and these are all scenarios that everybody's heard. Right. It is like sometimes he literally cannot win. And it's like, all right, y'all get a little bit extra with the criticism, even though everybody can be criticized, but then it just turns to LeBron hate. And that's the part that I haven't seen the level of scrutiny and hate that LeBron has received that I can say for any player. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't really seen it to his level. So is that because of the MJ comparisons? It can't be all because of the decision when they went to Miami. It can't be that. You know what I mean? Like what is it about LeBron that really brings out the hate in people so much?
Well, I think in the beginning, like they really can't find anything significant that he's done wrong. Like, okay, like not playing in the game, the All-Star game decision, that wasn't a good decision. Like you said, just flat out say it, regardless if you didn't know, whatever, like missing games and all that. If you could play. And that goes back to our point about the hockey guy who was talking about it. If you could play. If you can't, obviously you got to rest and you got to heal up. But as far as like LeBron goes, you talk about making the right, he's always looking to make the right decision. Like, I don't think he has the fans in his mind when he's playing basketball. Like, oh man, I got to take this game-winning shot because the fans are going to be so upset if I don't. They're going to criticize me. He's thinking about making the right play. He's not Michael Jordan. He's not Kobe Bryant. They're two different players. All those guys, like Mike and Kobe, were similar in their skill set and how they played, right? And like just their assassin-like mindset. Like LeBron is more like Magic in as far as he's a playmaker first. Like I really think LeBron has more joy in passing the basketball than he does scoring the basketball. And that's kind of weird because he's the leading scorer in NBA history. You know what I'm saying? But he's a guy who thrives off making good decisions, right? For his teammates. And for people to say like, his teammates have carried him. Yes, he's had great players, right? And for when they say stuff about Mike, you wouldn't even know because Mike wasn't in a lot of these situations. You wouldn't if Mike was, hey, Mike would never win that. Man, look, we talked about this earlier. If Mike had $40 million on the table, because Mike, I think the highest Mike ever made in the league was like $25 million for a year or something like that. If some of these numbers were out when Mike was playing, man, I bet you he's shifting. He's shifting around. Like it's going to be a lot of different movements. So the whole like game is totally different. The whole economic part of the game is totally different. That's why there's a lot of shifting around and a lot of stuff like that. And again, it goes like to marketability too. Like he went to Miami, like a great place to be marketed. He goes to LA, great place to be marketed. He brought Cleveland back from the dead. Like he marketed that whole city. He revived the whole city. Like people aren't really like, they just want to nitpick at the negative because like we said, there's nothing really super significant to say that he did wrong unless you want to talk about, oh, he didn't play in the All-Star game or he's missing a couple games.
I mean, he's about to score 50,000 points.
He's 40 years old.
50,000 points.
He's 40 years old, and man, he a top 5 player in the NBA right now. How he playing, how he moving. Do you see some of these dunks that he's doing? And Mike, like again, this is my top 3, E. And then I've been pretty solid with my top 3 of all time. I just, and this is how I like for who I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mike, Kobe, Bron. That's what I like. You know what I'm saying? And then I'd probably put Magic and Shaq.
Okay.
Honestly, and you could put Kareem in, you could put Will, you could do all that. Man, listen, I wasn't able to really see those guys. That's my top 5. That's my top 5.
I got you, and it's when you're talking about the top, it's different eras. So the rules are different in different eras. So it's kind of hard to make those, because it's different. I mean, people talk about like LeBron having help. I mean, would MJ have won all of those without Pippen? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like Pippen had a lot. They were Batman and Robin. They needed each other. So yeah, and so when Pippen's talking about now, he's like, "Hey, what about me?" You know what I mean? I know the way he's doing it is kind of making people. But
right.
Does he have a point? does he have a point though? But it's interesting. Looking at LeBron, looking at the Lakers now, they're number 2 in the West. Like right now, they're hoping. Like because we even talked after the Luka Doncic trade, we didn't know how they was really going to work. Like how this was going to work with them. They both kind of slow. They both need the ball. They didn't prove both of us wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes,
they beat the Clippers twice. They beat the Nuggets. They beat the Mavericks. They beat the Timberwolves. You know what I mean? Those are all the top teams in the West. You know, I mean, so they're balling right now. But then still, even with that, you'll still see the haters of LeBron be like, well, he wouldn't do it without Luka. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, really? Like, and then when they beat who was it, Portland? They beat Portland, and they're like, well, he's stat padding. You know what I mean? I was like, stat padding? He's 40 years old. So it's just crazy to be hearing just no matter what he does, the criticism still comes. And, he talked about it, and it's just a different era. I don't think that the guys in the past, yes, they were criticized. Yes, they were scrutinized, everything like that. But it was different. It was a little different. And I guess LeBron may be put him to the side because I don't know if necessarily if all the players are scrutinized to that level. But you look at KD, we talked about Kyrie before, we talk about, different players. Yeah, I guess the criticism is just it's a little bit different now. Would you agree?
It's different because obviously one, social media and just everything is under the microscope. Every little move that you do is being criticized. It's being looked at. So like back when Mike played, there was none of that. There was none of that going on. Like even if he was doing some stuff, you might hear about it a year or two later of what happened, like as far as like gambling and all that stuff. But now, if it happens last night, you hear it 2 hours later. Like, you know what I mean? It's on social media.
I'm just talking about on the court. I'm not even talking about the extra stuff off the court. I'm talking about specifically on the court criticism. It seems like the on the court criticism, because that's been a topic. So a lot of, the players I think LeBron says something about it. I think KD says something about it. Just the way that a lot of the networks now, they're all focused on criticizing the players, tearing down the product, being able to say, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And it's like a nonstop continuous reel of criticism. Now that from that aspect, was it always like that, or is that kind of something relatively new?
Well, again, I think social media, it's just more of it. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing, but negativity gets more clicks. I mean, people, it's almost like the negativity of these guys, because these guys are up here. Like these guys are like heroes to a lot of people, right? So like it's almost like the negativity brings them down to the average person's level. You know what I mean? It's weird to say that, but like it's kind of how I feel. Like these networks and all that, like they're getting all these clicks and what did he do wrong? I can't wait to, because whether you like him or not, people, they're gonna click on it. They're gonna figure out, hey, why is he being criticized here? Why is he doing this? So it's social media has just made everything times 100. Whether it be good or bad. But let's get back to it. We've got to take a quick break, and we'll get back talking about LeBron.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball player Etan Devo.
Last season, the Syracuse center became the first Orange.
You'll have about a minute when you get back.
Wow. That's it?
Time be flying, boy. Flies.
I didn't even realize it until you said that, Paulie. Sorry about that. Hey.
No worries.
What do you just want to recap with that? Or kind of like cap it off?
Yeah. I don't know.
Or we could just say, what's your take tonight? Give me a score for the SMU game.
I don't do that. Let's end on a good note.
Okay, well, you know what we're going to do? We'll say that, and we'll finish up with LeBron, and we'll say good luck. Good luck to Cuse tonight, man.
Good luck.
Has there been a game that you cared like? I know you can't say it, but like that just means less in Syracuse basketball. Like, I've been at SU for almost. It's just it's not even like senior day. It's just okay because you don't get anything out of it. Right?
Yeah. No, there's not really. I don't know. It's not really. Yeah, there's nothing to really be excited about.
It's
I guess.
A sad state of affairs, but it's just there's nothing to this game.
No, it's that because even if they win or lose, they're still in the same position. You know, it's.
Yeah, I mean, it matters to the players, but like just as like a fan watching from the outside, it's kind of just like,
You're right, but I think too, like you want to win, just getting some good momentum going into it from the players and coaches. Like yes, from the fans, like whatever, I guess, but you still want to be feeling good going into the tournament.
Right.
North Carolina State did it last year. You never know, man. You just never know.
Yeah.
What the chances are very slim. You know,
I mean, maybe you talk about that. You know what I mean? Just reiterating that part as far as us coming, feeling good about going into the tournament and how anything can happen. And about NC State, what they did, and
they lost 4 in a row last year going into the tournament, and then they
no momentum.
9.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you win 2, try to win 2, man. Just feel good about yourself. I don't know,
If they win the ACC tournament, I will eat my shoe.
That you definitely will, and we're gonna broadcast that live. That will be that whole shoe too. It's gonna be what's size 9.5.
Yes, that's a.
Eat your shoe.
Eat your shoe. Eat your shorts. Eat my shorts.
The shorts.
You don't remember that show, Paulie?
The Simpsons?
No. Well, yeah, he said that, but it was Nickelodeon had some cabin show. I forget what it was, dude.
I know what you're talking about. The name of it.
Eat my shorts.
Nickelodeon just started when I was a kid, so it was like you can't do that on television. And
I remember that.
Darkwing Duck, I think, was the guy.
Darkwing Duck. I had like me growing up was like Doug Funny, Doug Funny, and that cousin Skeeter was just coming on the.
Oh, Doug. Yeah.
Doug. Rocco's Modern Life. All those weird shows.
Yeah. No, Doug was cool.
Yeah, Doug was cool.
Doug was cool, all right.
Doug was the man. Him and Skeeter Valentine.
Him and Skeeter. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Salute your shorts. That's exactly what it was. Salute your shorts. That's what was the show called, though? What was the show called? Hey Arnold's a good one too. Yes, Rob, that was a good one.
Yeah, I liked Hey Arnold.
Salute
15
your
seconds,
shorts.
and you'll have about 1 minute.
Okay.
And Syracuse sports talk shows on CuseSportsTalk.com. This is the Etan Devo Show. Here are former Syracuse standouts Etan Thomas and Eric Devendorf.
Hey, welcome back. So we got about 1 minute, E. We'll wrap up talking about this SMU Cuse. So just during break, we were talking about win or loss, Cuse is really in the same situation. But for the momentum going into the ACC tournament, you want to try to win games, obviously, but just play good on both ends of the court. So playing good tonight versus SMU, hopefully we can get an upset win, but building some momentum, feeling good about yourself on both sides of the floor going into the ACC tournament.
Yeah, and I love how the team keeps preaching and the coaches keep preaching that there's no quit in us. You know what I mean? Things are, tough, but there's no quit. We're going to keep fighting to the end. We're going to keep pushing. That's good to hear. You know what I mean? Because that's what you would expect. And if it was the opposite, Syracuse fans would really be upset. You know what I mean? And we would all be upset if we saw our team quitting. So the fact that they're not giving up, they're going to keep pushing.
30.
Just keep on pushing.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to make a prediction, all right? At Dallas, Eddie's back home. He's like 2 hours away from home. And shout out to Eddie again. He's almost, I think, 2 more games with double doubles, and he breaks the school program record for double doubles. So I think he gets it tonight. I think he gets another one in his last game. But 80-72, I'm going out on a limb. Cuse wins. I'm just putting good luck out there for us, E. I'm just putting good luck out there for us, man.
I'll go with you said. I'll roll with you.
That's it. That's it, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back next Monday, regular time, 11 to 12. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next week.
It's time for your best